Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. The topic of today's video is Tana Mongeau. Again, I swear I've gone so back and forth on her. Is it a coincidence that she starts drinking again and then all this drama comes out of nowhere? No, but there's more of like a serious discussion to be had. Follow me on Instagram. I love that I just said serious discussion. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok as well. There is a serious discussion to be had with what's happened. So Tana Mongeau and an influencer called Alissa Violet got into some beef, and then Alissa Violet, this was like a month ago, Alissa Violet then decided to put up a video a few days ago talking about her side of the story. In it, she exposed some messages from Tana Mongeau regarding creating an OnlyFans. Because, if you didn't see my other video, basically Tana Mongeau was making fun of Jason Nash, as she should because he's embarrassing, and Alissa Violet then slut-shamed Tana for having an OnlyFans.
And then we haven't even gotten to the video itself.
Let's get to the video itself.
And then in the video, she goes to talk about how I sell my butthole on OnlyFans. First of all, I never have. Second of all, I'm gonna now out of spite, okay? Third of all, what the fuck? Where do you get off? Where do you get off?
Isn't that how a lot of people are making an honest living and how they're supporting their children? Fuck you.
And then Tana said, we've been at so many parties coked up together where she's been begging me to on how to make an OnlyFans.
Stupid idiot.
Do you know how many times I've been out with Alissa Violet and she's asked me if she should start an OnlyFans, if I can help her because she has no fucking money? And then you're going to come online and shame me?
That's what I heard.
You know how many times I've literally, the last time I was with her was at Barlease. And she's fucking jaw swinging, asking me about fans. You wanted to do it. You're just mad because you wouldn't succeed at it because you fucking flopped.
Alissa then in her video showed some screenshots of her messages with Tana Mongeau, and I will go through them quickly. Yes, historically, I know I've looked at my channel too. I have flip-flopped about Tana Mongeau, but this one is like this topic is so icky. These were from Reddit. I saw this post on Reddit. Well, I saw the mega post someone did, and now I've just found these ones from. Do you care? Should you care? Anyway, here are the text messages. So, Tana, tell me your thoughts on OnlyFans. Alissa, there's no amount of money in the world. Tana, ha ha ha. Respect it, had to ask. Alissa, why? I was going to pitch you making a bag. How? To make an OnlyFans? Yes, you'd make multi-millions, no question, and show nothing. The second I announced that I made an OnlyFans, even if I posted pictures of my dogs, everyone would assume the worst without seeing what I'm posting. Then the people who purchased the thing would feel scammed and start a controversy. Can't win. I mean, you could wildly control the narrative, like everyone does it, and people I feel like no longer think it's the worst. They would know you're in your bag. I also truly feel like no one would feel scammed. Everyone does that. As long as you don't overpromise and underdeliver, it could be legit, be photos that just don't make it to Instagram. Also, at the end of the day, you have a ton of male followers who are going to sexualize you regardless. Might as well make a killing off of that. Side note as well, on my second OnlyFans page, Tana Gone Wild, I vlog weekly. I vlog me drinking, being fun and wild. People have loved you vlogging so much, you could do a weekly 10-minute vlog that you don't even edit and make a minimum $500,000 a month off of that. Then you can promote it, like watch my exclusive vlogs. You should do that. That's wild. I'll think about it. Like dead ass vlogs. We should just make our own app that has exclusive content. You can promote it with full honesty. I know, but I swear to God, people make the most on OF. And you'll be buying a house and a Lambo after 6 months. Tana, I don't think you've bought a house yet. What are you saying? Then there's another screenshot of Tana being like, starting OnlyFans, we're begging. Alissa says never. Tana said, I knew it, damn it, had to try. So those are the screenshots that Alissa put up from Tana, and it has spun into a huge discussion about digital pimping and online pimping. Now, Tana responded to this on her Twitter, saying basically, on coke, she was begging me for advice on how to make an OnlyFans, whatever. And if you look at the text messages, Tana's first message says, tell me your thoughts on OnlyFans, because Tana's insisting that they discussed it at a party beforehand, which they could have happened. Two things could be true. But if so, why would she need to be told her thoughts on OnlyFans in 2023, so only last year? Wouldn't she already know if they discussed it numerous times, coked up at parties together? Plus, Tana continuously saying, oh, she keeps asking me coked up on Twitter, isn't really the win that she thinks it is. Because, guys, if you've never done coke, let me just tell you, you'll talk about anything. It's not really It's not really a good barometer for how one actually feels on a subject if you're discussing something coked up, because you'll talk about anything and you'll think that some ideas are absolutely brilliant whilst you're coked up, because that's the nature of the drug, and then, you know, when you sober up, you don't think it's a good idea or whatever. So it's not a really good indicator either way. So because of this, and this is the thread that I found initially that came on my Reddit, someone made a thread. Tana dabbling in virtual pimping with Tana's Angels Agency, a deep dive, it's not good. So let's just go through some of it and some of the links together, because there are articles. On the 4th of the 25th, on the 25th of the 4th, 21. Why do Americans do that? Why is it the wrong way around? Anyway, Tana announces she's starting her very own agency called Tana's Angels Agency in collaboration with Unruly Agency. She was and is currently signed to Unruly Agency. OF is specifically mentioned as to why she's creating the agency. People asking me how I make my money on OF. Tana also states introducing TAA is a way for me to give power back to the creators. In a sideman video on the 30th of the 7th, 23, she asked another contestant, have you ever thought about doing OnlyFans? I have an agency, looking to recruit some people.
Have you ever thought about doing OnlyFans?
OnlyFans?
Yeah. Well, I do OnlyFans.
Okay.
And I have an OnlyFans agency called Tana's Angels Agency, or
nice.
TAA.
Cool.
And I'm looking to recruit some people. Would you ever do it on camera?
Then the lawsuits come into it, so I'm going to go through each one by one. This is on the Daily Beast. They promised her online fame. This influencer says they exposed her nudes and threatened her instead. Modern day pimps. Exclusive interview. Unruly Agency reps some of the biggest influencers on Instagram and OnlyFans, but content creators are warning others to stay far away, and one model is sued in company. With the likes of influencer Tana Mongeau, Daisy Keech, Harry Jowsey, the Clermont twins, and dozens of others, the Unruly Agency seems to be the place that could take an influencer's brand to new heights. But clients and contractors are warning others against signing with either of the firms, citing sketchy business practices and ruthless cash grab attitudes. These guys are basically pimps, attorney Robert Towler tells the Daily Beast. His client filed suit last week against Unruly Agency and Behave Agency in Los Angeles. I really hope this all comes out because it's disgusting, adds Jenny Neiman, a popular Instagram influencer who walked away from Unruly/Behave in April after being sketched out by what she felt was an inappropriate questionnaire and hearing others' horror stories. I think that any influencer that's with Unruly right now needs to separate from them. An online security professional specializing in content removal who requested for the Daily Beast to withhold his name because he works with several top Unruly clients to take down the leaked content says he has seen it all from working in relation to the firm and would advise anyone to stay far away. He claims the people behind Unruly and Behave are pretty bloodthirsty and money hungry and treat their talent as objects. They most definitely don't have your best interests in mind. There was a 21-year-old client, a model who is identified as Jane Doe. She alleges Unruly team members posted an illicit video of her to a public section of her OnlyFans page without permission, rerouted her OnlyFans payment information to its own bank accounts, and posted a private photo of her to another model's page, captioning it, "Not safe for work." The most traumatizing aspect of this young woman's nearly 3-month ordeal came when she tried to leave the agency and was allegedly threatened with financial ruin, according to her lawsuit. I don't want any other girl to go through the amount of fear and being so scared. I felt like my life was ruined. When you search Unruly Agency, the first thing you see is about women empowerment, which is nothing that they are about. Daily Beast reached out, didn't receive a response. Launched in 2020 by recent college graduates Nikki Gathright and Tara Electra Nignajad, Unruly has been praised in Forbes for setting the stage for female empowerment. Billing itself as an elite influencer marketing and social media marketing firm, promises to help market their clients and, grow their fan bases. Integral to the business plan for Behave and its parent company, Unruly, is OnlyFans. Amid the worldwide pandemic, the subscription-based platform's popularity skyrocketed, becoming a legitimate and reliable source of income for several content creators where top earners can make up to 6 figures a month. I'm going to try not to interrupt myself too much because I would like to conclude and, gather my thoughts. But Tana Mongeau herself has made something like, I think she broke $10 million on OnlyFans, which isn't a fair representation. Yes, some people can make a lot of money, but it's a bit like a lottery. I think the vast majority of OnlyFans workers tend to not even break minimum wage. The top earners are generally ones who already had a massive pre-existing fan base. Unruly's reputation is a trap, explains influencer Jenny Neiman, who inked her contract in March. I wanted to work for Unruly because I knew they were working with Tana Mongeau and all these big influencers. I was super pumped. I was like, I'm going to be with Unruly. This is awesome. Daily Beast reached out to Mongeau via email for comment, didn't receive a response. Jane Doe also joined, spurred on by a friend who was working with the company, making significant cash. She was doing really well for herself, Doe tells the Daily Beast. A lot of celebrities that I look up to, they're also in the agency, so I was like, wow, that must be a really good agency. When speaking to someone at Unruly, Doe later hesitated upon hearing Unruly wanted a 25% of her gross commission from OnlyFans, especially since how the platform already takes the first 20% of earnings, so you'd only be getting like 55% of your earnings if you signed with them. Doe, who is not a native English speaker, said she had trouble understanding aspects of the contract when it was sent over. Tula, who represents Doe, agreed it was unusually hard to make sense of the document. For what it's worth, as someone who's trained to read contracts, it was difficult for me. It was contradictory, it didn't make sense, and had all sorts of very peculiar and unlawful provisions, including that she can't sue them for anything ever, something I've never seen. Doe says her concerns were smoothed over by the team. Tony, one of the guys from Unruly, said to Doe, "Nothing's set in stone, it's just a contract. They're not unreasonable people. Communication is the key to our relationship. It will be fine, it will be great." But this is when the trouble started. Doe uploaded her content, including videos and photos, on a Google Drive account, which was shared with members of the firm. They oversaw the posting of the content to her OnlyFans account and were tasked with responding to the hundreds of daily messages from her fans. Unbeknownst to Doe, without her knowledge or consent, Unruly/Behave changed her banking information on OnlyFans, the suit alleges. I had no idea they were going to do that. Instead of Doe's bank account being linked to her OnlyFans profile, money would be sent directly to the company bank, according to the complaint. Defendants used their access to her OnlyFans account to modify her payment settings. That is grimy, innit? So that all the money Miss Doe earned on the platform was directly routed to the defendants' bank accounts, instead of continuing to be routed to Miss Doe's bank accounts. They exercised complete and arbitrary control over how much they kept for themselves, as well as when and whether Miss Doe was paid. OnlyFans account so she could do her own accounting, but it was like pulling teeth. It was really confusing. I tried to do the math on my own. I had no idea if I was getting paid the right amount. It was really hard to get hold of the accounting person. They weren't emailing me back. A couple responding a couple days later, and the initial email they sent me wasn't even working. She was unhappy with how they were running her account. They were constantly posting content, lowering her prices, and bilking, I don't know what that means, bilking fans for cash when they messaged her, she alleged to Daily Beast. They were sending out pay-per-views every day, sometimes multiple times a day, Doe claimed to the Daily Beast. There was nothing exclusive about it anymore. That's not what I wanted my OnlyFans to be about. I actually care about the people I chat to. I actually talk to them about their day and their life, but every time they tried to chat with my audience, it was either sexting or unsophisticated. They didn't care about their day. It was just like, do you want to buy something? They were being cash grabbers. They could care less about my account. They could care less about my audience. They just wanted money. She also thought that she was going to be signed with Unruly, which manages their bigger influencer accounts, but she was put with Behave instead, despite being told that she was going to be signed with Unruly. The final straw for Doe came on February 2nd when the company team member posted an illicit video of Doe on her OnlyFans main page, which is free and visible to anyone who clicks on her OnlyFans account, despite Doe making clear she never wanted any type of nude content there, according to the suit. The 2-minute video showed the model disrobing, exposing her bare breasts, and showing Jane Doe fully nude from behind. Her face is visible throughout the video. Doe was in disbelief. I was literally petrified. A video that was only supposed to be for people who had sent me their ID and paid for the joining fee to ever get access to. And there it is on the main feed for everyone to see. Soon enough, the video was leaked to different platforms, including on Reddit forum, according to the suit, and she only received a lackluster apology from the company. They didn't get back to me. I sent them a lot of texts. They didn't get back to me until later. All I got was, "I'm sorry, it won't happen again. It's so unprofessional. They have a team of people working for me. How would they mess that up?" They also interviewed a content removal specialist who believes the sizable cut Unruly Behave takes from its creators is unfair. The firms are doing the bare minimum to safeguard their clients' content. They don't get their fair share of service at all. They don't protect them. Anyone who ever asks me, do you know any management companies I should work with or to stay away from, Unruly is definitely on the negative list, that's for sure. Yeah, they're taking, 20%? They're taking 20% and they're going to fuck up. It's not like it's just pictures of people reading a book. It's private pictures that they're using OnlyFans as an outlet for because, they're sex workers and want to be paid for their work. If they wanted things out there for everyone to see, there's other websites for that. So Jane Doe wants to get out of the contract, and the guy that she'd been liaising with turned from nice to nasty, saying basically you're not allowed to get out of your contract. It has to last a year and you have to make X amount of money. Otherwise, they would threaten to financially ruin or sue her, I assume. And Tula says the demand was based on what they projected she would make in the 10 months remaining in her contract plus legal fees. It was many multitudes of what she made in a month. No one has this type of money sitting around. They know how much she made, so I thought it was particularly cruel. Yeah, because they're trapping her because, well, they know how much money she's making because all the money is going to their bank account. So they've effectively trapped her. Doe was sent into panic mode. I was crying for the first 3 days after I got that letter from them. I didn't know what my options were. I'm 21 years old. The amount of money they demanded from me, I was never going to be able to pay that. Unless she worked consistently on her pimping. It's just like, that's just pimping, is it not? Trapping someone, forcing them to do sex work. Unless I have a different definition of what pimping means. Jane Doe dropped out of college because she couldn't do school and deal with this at the same time. I'm really scared. I don't know how this is going to turn out. How would you go against such a huge company when you search their name and it's all positive press and some of the biggest people in the industry are signed with them? Tula says that he was shocked by the contract and it was absurd. There's a provision where they're allowed to take a life insurance policy out on her. I've never seen it in my life. All these pieces add up to something devilish. What? Take out a life insurance policy so they can kill her if she doesn't do the work? What? Get the money that way? It's weird. It's not weird. That's beyond weird, actually, isn't it? Weird's not quite the word for that. Tula says there is a great allure for young women to join an agency with some notoriety. To say it as bluntly as possible, this is dangerous. Not even proceed with caution. This is a dangerous situation that you may end up in and it can really hurt you. So that was the first article. Sorry if it took ages for me to get through that. Okay, I can't do the one on the Business Insider because they want £1 a month from me. Absolutely not. Rolling Stone have done an article. No woman should be pressured. OnlyFans creators are suing an agency alleging exploitation. In two separate filings, model and lifestyle influencers Sarah Stage and Jessica Quesada are accusing Unruly Agency of trapping them into exploitative contracts, posting nude and sexual photos without their consent, despite both women telling the agency when they first signed with them that they had no interest in posting such content. The fundamental issue is anyone who wants to produce sexual content is absolutely free to do so, but no woman should be pressured into doing so or shamed for not doing so. That's essentially what Unruly did to my clients and is doing to a lot of women. So these are different women from the other article. So Stage signed with them and they gave her a questionnaire. They gave all of them a questionnaire basically saying like what you're comfortable doing or not doing. And she said she was uncomfortable posting nude or posting sexually explicit content while speaking with fans, saying she'd like to stick to sexy fitness and tasteful lingerie bikini shots, and that she had worked hard creating as a brand as a fitness influencer. Almost immediately after executing the agreement and filling out the survey, defendants began pressuring plaintiff to pose for sexually explicit photographs in blatant disregard of plaintiff's survey responses at its previous conversations with plaintiff regarding the type of content she wanted to post. At a photo shoot, Stage claims the photographer pressured her to disrobe and displayed clear favoritism towards the women who were willing to pose nude and produce more sexual content. She goes on to say that a few months later, she discovered that her account manager was posting sexually explicit captions and offering to rate a subscriber's penis in exchange for money. This is messy isn't the right word, but good God. The lawsuit further alleges that when Stage tried to get out of her contract, Unruly threatened to sue her, continuing to operate her account without permission until she changed her passwords. According to Insider, Unruly filed a counterclaim alleging breach of contract. They claimed they offered to let her out of the contract for a fee, but instead she broadcasted false claims to other models in an effort to persuade them to leave their contract. I mean, this is a similar issue to the one before. So are all these women lying, or is it the corporation that's in the wrong? What do you think? Crusader alleges that she too was asked to fill out a branding questionnaire. In her questionnaire, she specified she did not feel comfortable posting nude videos or anywhere where you can see her privates under the clothing, and that anything with her in sheer clothing needed to be edited. Yet she says the account manager at one point posted a photo where her nipples were visible without her consent and sent subscribers explicit messages without her consent. At one point, Crusader alleges Unruly asked her to travel 3 hours to meet a VIP subscriber, which she could refuse to do. Just pimping, isn't it? Like, because they're not going to meet up and have a cup of tea, are they? It's not what the VIP subscriber's going to want from her. And that's so dangerous. Even Tana Mongeau has spoken about how she's had a stalker from OnlyFans. It would be so dangerous to like try and send someone off to meet a VIP subscriber, like unless you know beforehand that like it's totally safe. Quesada also alleges that Unruly threatened to sue her when she asked to terminate her contract, where we heard that before, continued to operate her account without permission. As a result, she became severely emotionally distressed because of the defendant's threats and bullying. Unruly said it was their policy to pass along requests from fans, but the company does not pressure nor commit any act that contradict the model's wishes. This article then mentions the 2021 Daily Beast article that I just read out, then said such allegations were echoed by a December 2021 BuzzFeed news piece in which 6 creators alleged that Unruly, as well as Behave, sold explicit photos of them without their consent and made it difficult for them to exit their contracts. Unruly told BuzzFeed the claims in the lawsuits are broadly stated and not supported by any evidence, and that it looks forward to disproving their claims through the legal process. So, like, 6 there, and then, like, 2 in this, 2 in the other one. So that's already 10 people. Do you think, like, 10 people are just separately lying? No. I wouldn't believe that. There's also a New York Times article called The E-Pimps of OnlyFans, but unfortunately it's behind another paywall. Found there's a document, Unruly complaint for damages final. There's a document. This is going to be a lot of legal jargon. I'm not going to be able to read this. I'm sorry. Going back to the Reddit post, the poster says Spill Sesh, another channel on YouTube, posted about how Austin McBroom was trying to run a similar scam back in January. Many of the girls who spoke out about it said it felt super predatory and like these men were trying to insert themselves back into a business where they could finally take a cut, I suppose. So to link this all back to Tana Mongeau, Tana being persistent about Alissa starting an OnlyFans, it could very well be that she probably most likely is getting a cut out of anyone that she successfully refers. I don't see why not, because that's a common enough business model, right? Sign up someone with your link and get like 10% off your next ride or whatever it is. But it's the way that Alissa told her no and she kept going. And if Tana Mongeau was a bloke and was, you know, hassling a girl about becoming a webcammer or creating an OnlyFans, then I think people would have reacted to it a bit differently. Unfortunately, because they were going back and forth in dramas, in like the silly high school dramas, some people aren't noticing the aspect of virtual or e-pimping. And it's not like you're trying to convince someone to use your special link at ExpressVPN. You're trying to convince someone to do OnlyFans. And we live in a society.
We live in a society, Batman.
We live in a patriarchal society by men for men, in which there is the illusion of women having sexual and free expression. It is an illusion, because men get really insecure really fast if a woman is being sexually free. And like I said before, most of the high earners, again there are outliers, but most of the high earners on OnlyFans already had a pre-existing fan base, so it was easier for them. Whereas a lot of people on there aren't even going to be making minimum wage. And unfortunately, I don't agree with it, but unfortunately, if people then decided that they wanted to get regular work from then on, realistically, it's going to be a bit more difficult if you've used a stage name, a little bit different, but if you've used your actual name on your OnlyFans and then you want to work in an office, if someone does a background check, some companies might be fine with it, but some companies probably wouldn't be fine with it. It's almost like this is like a multi-level marketing scheme of Tana Mongeau's, but it's very dark, because whilst the creation of OnlyFans did put a lot of the power back into the hands of the creator rather than going with normal porn companies in which people could get exploited, there still is a lot of very real risks that come with doing OnlyFans or any kinds of sex work. Stalkers are a big one. Like I said, Tana Mongeau even said that she got a stalker from her OnlyFans account.
A creepy guy, an OnlyFans guy, stalk us for a second and like show up and like climb through the mountains to try to get into our backyard and shit like that.
When working with normal porn companies, there is the risk of sexual exploitation or being pressured into doing scenes that you're not comfortable with. Like, I've heard a few porn stars talk about when they filmed like their first gangbang or bukkake scene. A few of them, I've heard at least a couple say that they filmed these scenes and they felt like they had an out-of-body experience whilst doing it, and then they went home and cried there's a dark side to it. There's a dark side to like everything. You know, life isn't rainbows, but there are some real risks that come with sex work. And that's not any shame to the sex workers. The risk comes from people consuming the content who can't fucking control themselves. So for Tana Mongeau to be trying to like MLM with other influencers and like try to convince them to come into this industry that has a lot of risks, it's really dark. And I've seen some people make fun of it or liken her to famous sex traffickers, but I don't think she would be trying to maliciously get people sucked into a dark world with lots of risk. I think she's just an idiot who, when it comes to money, has no moral values, has no, oh, maybe I should think about this, just always chases her bag, no matter what it does to other people. I think that's more of a factor rather than her being likened to sex traffickers, because you don't want to diminish what some of the really famous sex traffickers have been doing, right? I think sex work should be destigmatized, but as I said before, we live in a patriarchal society. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, even though, you know, there are great strides from people who are brave and take leaps, but I feel like it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, especially with how like regressive a lot of people's attitudes have become in the last few years. I'm seeing like more, not to throw religion in the mix, but I'm seeing more religious like weird mindsets than ever on the internet. It's really weird. I thought everyone was about being like edgy and atheist and like, you know, remember like edgy skepticals. I'm a skeptic, I'm an atheist. What happened to that? Now people are just going back to being really religious, and now it's a fight of, oh, my old book is better than your old book. Which is fine if you want to take the metaphors and stories from it. That's fine. Just don't like try and infringe other people's. It's not the point. It's not the point. You understand what I mean? I feel like people have like regressed in the past few years, especially what I've been seeing. Maybe I'm just like in a weird echo chamber bubble where everyone seems to be getting stupider. My point is, sex work comes with danger and it comes with exploitation. And whilst OnlyFans kind of came to like cut out that middleman to make sex workers safer, doesn't help if you've got people like Tana Mongeau or the Unruly Agency trying to like swoop in to then exploit and make money off of other women's bodies. Do you see what I mean? It's just a clusterfuck, really. Like trying to pitch something to someone as female empowerment, and it seems it's dressed up nicer because Tana is a woman, so it feels like it's coming from a nice place, but it's not, because it's like you're trying to dress up something as female empowerment while simultaneously hoping to exploit said woman's body so you can get a cut of the money, if that's what she is doing, which I'm pretty sure it is. Because if I could have a sponsorship deal with ExpressVPN back in the day where I got a commission based upon signups, why wouldn't Tana Mongeau get a commission based upon signups with her link to the agency which she represents? Of course, allegedly, of course she's getting a cut. Come on. It's really dark even for Tana. I wonder if she's even thought about it as much as me or some of these people have, you know? And then again, when it comes to something like this, the exploitation or the possible exploitation of other women's bodies so that you can be financially compensated from it, does Tana Mongeau's intent matter? Does it matter? Well, like, of course it does matter a little bit moralistically, because you would hope that like she's not deliberately trying to be a dark pimp to like deliberately affect someone's life negatively. Of course not. But whether she is being a dark pimp or whether she's just trying to be money hungry.
All these bitches out here trying to be a playmate, but I want to be Hugh Hefner.
If the outcome is the same, does the intent matter a lot? What matters more, outcome or intent? I'm also just going to read out, as I just saw this quickly, a post someone made on the Reddit Star Love Online, OF agencies and pimping. I don't think you understand how serious this is. Yes, I'm using the word pimping because that's exactly what this is. As a former sex worker, I've seen this all the time. Young girls being promised a life of luxury, never had to worry about bills, $500k a month, and the famous line of you don't even have to show anything. Agencies and influencers like Tana, Austin Broom, Little Pump, and many more use these tactics to get other young, naive girls to sign contracts they don't fully understand. I mean, that does back up what we saw in that article about even the lawyer was saying, yeah, it's so convoluted and for like what reason. So, like that, I hate, side topic, not so serious, I hate legal speech and legal jargon. Just like say what you mean, say it with your chest, bruv. Imagine me writing a contract in front of him, being like, just fucking speak properly. Instead of being like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, imagine a contract being like, blah, blah, blah. Be serious, be for real. they don't fully understand. And you can say if that was their decision, that's on them. And then I really have nothing to say to that other than I really hope you're not put into a position where you're promised so much you end up being in a legally binding exploitative contract. Now, obviously, this isn't the same thing, but it's kind of similar because we were calling it an MLM, and I've done a video about how I call it a sales cult, which is cults doing a lot of heavy lifting there. A bit of an exaggeration. I don't exaggerate that much, though. Like, having to wake up really early and, like, chant things at each other, and having managers talk about, like, how you should cut off anyone who is negative about your job. Like, that's a cult tactic. It's just like well, still kind of severe because I lost money. Anyway, and I've been in an MLM, and I was young and stupid, and I just wanted to make a lot of money without putting the work in. I was really young, by the way, like 22, I think. And I got sold the idea of an MLM from someone else who was in an MLM at a point in my life where I was a bit vulnerable because I was so broke and I couldn't just get a normal office job. I was fed up of working in bars. And they really sell you on this. All you have to do is X, Y, Z, and then you're going to be seeing like residual income, and then you're going to be seeing passive income. So when people are like, oh, well, it's your fault, it's your decision, that's on them. It's like, yeah, but things don't happen in a vacuum, and it's nice to have a little bit of understanding. And if they're going after young girls who are like as young as 21, I would assume like as young as 21 because you can legally drink then, and they're giving them some really convoluted contracts. Well, I have sympathy for them anyway. These agencies prey on younger girls, and so did Tana. If Tana truly wanted to help Alissa and other girls get into OF, she would have given them tips on how to manage their own accounts and not through a third-party agency. Tana's Angels is run by Unruly Agency, not Tana herself. Unruly Agency has 9 lawsuits against them right now for not paying their models, posting photos of models that consent, so much more. Tana only cares about making money off of young, impressionable girls who think this is an easy industry to get into. This is a common tactic real pimps use to recruit more girls. They use women to convince these girls so they feel safer. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Tana is not managing these girls. She is the face. These girls are signed with an agency full of men who do not give a if they live or die, and that is the God's honest truth. Don't care if it sounds harsh. Don't sound harsh to me. But I'm English. I'm basically Billy Butcher from The Boys, whose English accent is not amazing, by the way. You would think, after so much conversation about the exploitation of the porn sex work industry, that would be able to call this out from a mile away, or at least acknowledge that this is messed up. But it's okay if it's your fave, right? This is the last straw with me with Tana. You need to stop making excuses that she was probably just trying to help her friend out. Stop trying to make yourself feel better. I don't even think you believe what you're saying. I think this is really sick and inexcusable. And then the top comment said, when she said you'll be buying a house and a Lambo in 6 months, I was shocked. That's such a classic manipulation tactic. And someone said it's giving MLM. Pisses me off how Tana tries to pull the it's empowering card. It might be for you when you're already so rich and posting Instagram outtakes with stupid captions on OF, not for the younger naive girls signing big contracts and looking for a main source of income from it. People often talk about destigmatizing sex work, but that has always meant taking the lives and safety of workers seriously. It does not mean brushing the abuse that they suffer under the rug. That directly goes against the initial goal. We shouldn't shame women, many of whom go into the industry as a last resort, but we can't pretend that the industry doesn't prey on women and abuse them. All of the good examples people use is 0.005% of the industry. OF tends to be a last resort for so many too. Many influencers only open an OF when views are down to keep rich. She must have seen Alissa fall off a bit and decided it's a good time to use a 500k and a Lambo to guilt her into it, which is so not okay regardless whether she was coked up asking about it. The shit I've said drunk alone should never be taken literally, so why would you run with something that someone said on drugs? I agree. Anyway, it's all very dark. I'd like to hear you guys' opinion on this. And it's definitely not something that Tana could be like, oh, I was young, naive, and impressionable. I didn't really know like what I was doing. She can't really hide behind that for this one. Of course, the moment a group of people try to take back power for themselves, there's just always another group of people waiting to exploit that somehow. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I make new videos whenever I feel like it. Let me know what you think of this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.